Today, we're talking about compassion and how, contrary to popular belief, compassion is one of the most dangerous emotions we can have. Years ago, Bertrhude and I had an experience that began to show us how many of the things we believe and do because of compassion are hurting those we intend to help, because compassion kills dignity.
So back in 2010, Priscilla and I, we were undergraduates at the University of Florida.
Go
Gators! So at any given point, we probably had between $10 to $20 in our bank accounts. We were broke, but we never allowed our high levels of broketivity impact our desire to change the world. So when the devastating earthquake of 2010 came and struck Haiti and took the lives of over 300,000 Haitians, we were ready to leap into action. I mean, we couldn't stand still and watch a devastation like this just take control of a country that we loved so much. And so our response was to spend months collecting clothes, food, and shoes for the Haitian people. We ended up collecting over 400 pounds of clothes, and then we took an airplane to Haiti with a team of volunteers and spent a week just passing out all of these clothes that we had collected for the Haitian people. I gotta be real with you guys, for that week, I felt like a younger, blacker, broker Oprah Winfrey. You get a shirt, you get a shirt, you get a shirt, everybody gets a shirt. Okay. I felt good. I felt real good. But that was short-lived.
Yeah, at the end of the week, we sat down with community leaders to hear what they thought about our work. They thanked us, but we ended up having a conversation we weren't anticipating. They shared with us how our actions hurt the community more than it helped them. We were really confused by this. We couldn't grasp what they were telling us until they introduced us to a man who sold clothes for a living. And he wouldn't be making any profit for the upcoming weeks because of our actions. They introduced us to a woman, her name was Rose, and she had 5 kids. She sold clothes and shoes, and we robbed her of the opportunity of making profit because who can compete with free? The community, they could have been upset with us, but they weren't. Instead, they had this overwhelming sense of defeat. And for us, that was worse.
And so we're sitting on the plane ride, getting back home after this trip, and their words just keep replaying over and over again in our minds. Bertrhude, Priscilla, we didn't ask for this type of help. You just gave it to us. Because you didn't ask, we were robbed of the opportunity to provide for ourselves, to believe in ourselves. On that plane ride heading back home to the Miami International Airport, Priscilla and I realized that compassion can be a dangerous thing. But what is compassion? I'm glad you guys asked. Compassion is the emotional response we get when we perceive suffering, and it involves an authentic desire to help alleviate that suffering. Now, this definition sounds really good, and it can be really good, but here's where it breaks down. Compassion structurally makes it so that there is one group in a position of power, and then another group in a position of complete weakness, utter dependence. Compassion is that thing that stirs within us and says, I need to jump in, rush, save the day, rescue. But too often, our compassion leaves the receiver feeling inadequate and unable. Dr. Lupton, he's the author of a book called Toxic Charity, and he provides us with some really good insight. He says there are 2 types of needs. There are crisis needs and chronic needs. A crisis need happens immediately after a disaster, like a hurricane, an earthquake, or flood. And in those moments, we need to rush in, rescue, save, because lives depend on it. On the other hand, we've got chronic needs. And these are deep-rooted, complex needs that can't be solved overnight. I'm talking about like hunger. I'm talking about lack of education or poverty. These type of things need long-term development plans. Now, here's the issue. Our compassion conditions us to want to rush in, help, save the day with these deep-rooted chronic issues. And so we come with short-term fixes, and these short-term fixes are only handouts instead of leg ups. These short-term fixes actually create deep cycles of dependence, and then they cripple those we're trying to help because we're treating chronic issues as if it's a crisis. And we can't do that.
But not all compassion is bad, right? Compassion can be a good thing. We've all experienced this. Compassion can be critical in deepening and building relationships because compassion lays a foundation for us to seek the best for others, even at the expense of our own comfort.
Yes.
But just because something can be good doesn't mean that we should leave it unchecked. When we leave our compassion unchecked, when we don't evaluate its impact on others, the effects can be harmful. We'll give you some examples. We've met skilled masons in Haiti who are struggling to find jobs, while inexperienced international volunteers come into their communities and build homes. Imagine what this can communicate to a mason about his value.
Yes.
We've met child street beggars who have given up on going to school, given up on their futures because begging is more profitable than going to school. Here's our point. Our compassion, our unchecked compassion, can cause deep cycles of poverty in the most vulnerable parts of our world.
And you know, Priscilla and I, we aren't the first to recognize the dangerous side of compassion. Yes, we are too beautiful,
Smart,
funny, and single women. Okay. 954, I'll give you the rest later. But we didn't come up with this concept. There is an enormous amount of research that exists on the dangerous side of compassion. I mean, take a look at some of these book titles. When Helping Hurts, Killing with Kindness, More Than Good Intentions. Researchers for decades have been crying out, asking for us to stop and listen to the voices of communities across the globe that are telling us that our good intentions are having negative, unintended consequences on their communities.
Our experiences in Haiti fueled us to understand how to help without hurting. So we completed our PhDs at the University of Florida.
Go Gators!
We focused on education and development. We've traveled around the world listening to and learning from vulnerable communities. Between the two of us, we've traveled to over 60 countries. And throughout all of our travels and in all of our studies, everything that we've learned can be boiled down into two simple rules. One, ask before you aid, always. And two, find the real heroes. So one, ask before you aid. It can seem so simple, but it's often neglected. When an event happens and compassion hits us, physiologically, our bodies are calling us into action.
Yes.
Stopping and asking questions is rarely at the top of our lists. But when we stop and we ask questions in local communities, we begin to understand the strengths, the assets, the talents, the desires of local communities, and we start to understand their experiences. When we began to ask questions of our Haitian partners, we started to understand their situation. Their greatest value, education. Their greatest challenge, education. You see, in Haiti, 80% of teachers are not trained. 25% of teachers haven't gone past high school. The impact of all this, 60% of students are dropping out before they finish the 6th grade. Our partners told us that while so many organizations are coming into Haiti to build and paint schools, the reality was their educational system was hanging on by a thread.
Yes. So number one, ask before you aid, always. Number two, find the real hero. Thank God for heroes, okay? Especially when they look that good. My pastor's here today, so I'll keep it down. So after our experience in Haiti, Priscilla and I decided to start a nonprofit called P4H Global. And that nonprofit's focus is to train Haitian teachers in order to see a radical transformation in Haiti's educational system. But we are not the heroes of the story. They are the heroes of the story. These 14 rock stars are former Haitian teachers who now work full-time for P4H Global, training Haitian teachers across the entire nation of Haiti. See, Priscilla and I, we realized that we don't have what Haiti needs, but they do. And so our role is simply to affirm their dignity, invest in their capacity, and then get out of the way and watch them change their nation. Oh yeah, come on, y'all. That is a good one. That is a good one. Okay. And so for us, we look at the Haitian people and we see that that is when the magic really started to happen within P4H. So to date, these trainers have trained over 5,000 Haitian teachers. They currently oversee the professional development for schools in 8 of Haiti's 10 departments, which means that their reach is literally the entire nation. And they're so effective at seeing student outcome and teacher outcome increase that on a weekly basis, they have schools and organizations calling them, asking for them to come inside of the schools and help the quality of the schools increase. Even the Haitian government called us up and was like, okay, sorry, I'm getting a little ghetto, but let me tell you, they called us up and they were like, hey, P4H. We're like, hey, who are you? The Haitian government. What? And they asked us to oversee the professional development for the public schools in the North Department. And so overall, we're seeing that they are quite literally transforming Haiti by investing in education. And we know that they're going to be ending poverty because they have so much at stake. And we come to the point where we ask ourselves, why is it that they're so effective? It's because they know the culture, context, environment, the people far more than anyone else in this world, which makes them the perfect heroes. So number 1, ask before you aid. Number 2, find the real heroes. Thank you.
$410 billion. That's how much we Americans donated to charity in 2017. Aren't we tired of investing so much of our money and seeing so little change? Imagine what problems we can solve in our world if we asked the right questions and found the real heroes and examined our compassion. Compassion kills dignity, but examined compassion, that can change the world. Thank you.